Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another high level game of StarCraft 2. Today we have in our top left spawning as the red Terran player playing for Team Shopify Rebellion. It is of course ByuN. And in the bottom right spawning as our blue Zerg player playing for Team Guangdong Freaks. It's going to be none other than soO. Alright. soO versus ByuN it is going to be. I'm very excited to see soO. I've been watching a lot of soO's game recently and I've been impressed by the mechanics. I've sometimes been a little bit less impressed by the decision making. Some of the theoretical knowledge of the early game isn't completely up to par, but especially in ZVT where mechanics seem to be the most important out of any matchup, soO actually looks, I don't want to say like championship material, but he looks pretty darn good. He looks like a high-level player that knows what he's doing. And I'm curious to see if he can take on ByuN on one of ByuN's strongest maps in the entire map. Curious Minds is one of these maps. You put ByuN on it, he can be down 40-50 supply, it's no problem. He's just going to camp, he's going to sit there, he's going to come back into that game. We've seen it time after time. I've seen him play against Serral, seen him play against Raynor. Works out perfectly, I think even against Rogue. I watched the game a little while ago as well. He's just a fantastic player on this map, and there's a lot of options even in the first 10 to 15 minutes where ByuN kind of has that kill opportunity, but he's completely fine with not killing his opponent either and just kind of going into that late game with these ghosts, with the tanks, and you have some nasty tank positions on this map. Think of a couple of tanks up here to siege a Zerg base that Zerg eventually needs to take one of the Terran bases, and this is really the only possibility. But it's really difficult to take because of these siege tank locations over here. You have some nasty, aggressive siege tank location setups as well, like behind these type of side blockers. You can put like a tank here, you have like a tank over here, some tanks back there. And if you get 5-6 tanks, you just have an almost unbreakable position at a watchtower. On top of that, defending run-bys isn't that difficult on this map, because there's really only one path that the Zerg can take, and that's this top side path if you're attacking on the bottom side, or it's the bottom side path if you're attacking on the top side. So it is a relatively easy map for Terran to attack on. It's a good map for Terran in the late game, and on top of that, the map is also very short, which means that any type of pressure that the Terran will put on early on is going to hit even harder. I am not quite sure what that lift was, but to the question if ByuN even lifts, the answer is going to be a clear yes. Now, the first Hellion is out already, and we have a quick tech lab follow-up. I thought this was going to be something along the lines of a 7 Marine drop, but now I think it might actually be quick Banshee, as we do see that tech lab. It is extremely uncommon to see a Banshee being rushed out like this. I do have to admit that. I'm not entirely familiar with it. It's going to hit hard, it's going to hit really fast as well, way faster than any other type of Banshee. And the reason for that is because the Reaper got skipped and the factory got built before the reactor. So we have a lower Marine count, and well, honestly, also a low Hellion count, at least lower than what we're used to in TVZ. But our Banshee is going to be out rather fast. And it's all because of that initially delayed reactor for the faster tech. It also means that ByuN needs to mine a lot of gas, and we see him indeed mining a lot of gas. Hellions are now starting to be built. I thought we already had one Hellion out. Where is it? Oh, it's just hiding next to the refinery. For some reason, I could not quite see that. And soO is not aware yet of what's going on. Now, the regular spore timings, I think, are just slightly too late for this. Usually we see Zergs against a triple CC opener, they'll get like 450 spores, but against a double CC opener, I think they'll usually get 430 spores. This time, however, if you start your spore at 430, Cloak is already going to be down and done. And that means you're actually going to be in some trouble against that first Banshee. So we'll have to wait and see what the spore timing is going to be for soO here. Every second that he's waiting with those initial spores is a second that this Banshee will have free reign over the mineral line. Lair obviously isn't done yet, hasn't even been started yet. We even see the Baneling Nest go down before the lair here. This is a safety play. This also means that there's not going to be any overseers. Here comes the Cloak out of the Banshee. Spores haven't started yet. 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the game. And this first Banshee is going going to deal an absolute crap ton of damage. Now do note, this is the timing where against a triple CC you'd usually start your spores, so soO must have made some type of misread or isn't quite aware of when those first spores actually need to be going down. Hellbats are being pumped out, that Baneling Nest isn't even done yet, despite it being built before the layer. We're not seeing a Ling run by or a Ling counterattack either, as this Banshee is also taking out a bunch of workers right now. In the main base, there's a Banshee still going kind of ham as well. Banshee now tries to transition, or rotate, I should say, towards the natural, but the sport there has already been finished. At the same time, the energy of the Banshee in the main is running out. I do believe, well, is this in a vulnerable spot? I don't think Queens can reach all the way over there. 12 workers have been taken out, but a lot of the Lings actually managed to stay alive. That is a big deal as well. So we have actually nothing lost yet here for ByuN, killing 1,000 minerals. But this also was a pretty big investment, an aggressive investment out of ByuN, and I'm not so sure if it has paid off in such a big way as I initially thought it would. Well, it has paid off in some way, but a lot of the Lings are still alive. The queen count is looking kind of healthy as well. We're at 7, and the drone count is rather high. The only true thing we're lacking at this point is a fort base. The drone count is going to reach a point where there's going to be more, basically too many drones for the current patches that soO can mine from. That is a real issue. What is this spore positioning, by the way? I would not mind seeing that change a little bit. I love that ByuN is just checking every fort base location and saying, hey, as long as you're not getting a fort base, I don't actually think I need to be doing something here. I can just kind of sit back, relax, and take my own third base. Why would I be attacking you? Right now, this Banshee is going to spot that fort base and most likely will trigger some type of a response the moment the first 2 medevacs are out. Have we lost anything yet on ByuN's side? Nope. Banshee now is going to start moving in towards the natural. Not quite sure if soO is aware of that. We're going to first person on his camp for a little bit. He's building a hatchery in the main base as well. 2 more drones do get taken out. This is so frustrating. 16 workers have died already, and soO himself hasn't achieved literally nothing yet. This has been a perfect game. A 7-minute and 11-second perfect game so far out of ByuN. Not losing a single unit, yet supplies are even because it was a big investment. The creep spread's looking fabulous, by the way. Of course, on a smaller map, it very often starts looking better a little bit quicker as well, because the map is so small, it's easier to cover. Of course, I have this little bugged out area on Curious Minds, in which it's impossible to spread creep. Sad to say that hasn't been fixed yet after this map being in the map pool for about 9 months or so, 12 months. Not even sure how long this map has been in, but it's been a long time. That little spot has not been fixed. Maybe it's this spot. Maybe it's both spots, actually. I'm never quite sure. I think it's actually both spots on the map. At least symmetrically terrible. Glad to hear it. Similar to my face, you know? Doesn't look great, but at least both sides are ugly. It'd be really uncomfortable if one side of your face was like real pretty, like perfect skin, normal looking eyes, my eyebrows that work with me rather than against me. And then the other side, you know, just my regular face. At least I'm symmetrically ugly. It's a good thing. It's the same with this map. Symmetrically bugged. I'm glad to hear it. Alright, Ground Carapace is finishing up. So 1-1 has finished at this point. 11 more drones are being taken out. I'm not quite sure where. I think these tanks might have something to do with this. You see 12 and 7 kills respectively on these tanks. This push is dealing a crap ton of damage. We actually have this run by coming in as a couple of SCVs might actually end up falling. 6 workers do get taken out. It's not the end of the world here for ByuN, because he still has 60 remaining. 20 workers at the same time have gone down on the side of soO. Now this push is going to be cleaned up eventually, but at what cost? Oh, well, cost of a bunch of Marines at least. Yeah, a lot more minerals and also a little bit of gas has been taken out right now. And we see ByuN kind of defaulting back to this tower here on the left side, which is a common move out of Terrans. The creep on this left side of the map also isn't fantastic, and taking the top side as a 5th for Zerg is practically impossible, which makes this game well, quite good right now for the Terran player. Fort base is already on the way, so we're going to be evening up the base count. The worker count is in favor of ByuN as well already. We have drilling claws on the way. We have these marauders being popped out as well. This is looking absolutely fantastic for the Shopify Rebellion player. A little bit of creep in the middle also gets cleaned up. Tower remains in possession of soO. But for how much longer? Well, for a little bit longer, because these two medevacs actually can't do very much about that. Beautifully placed mules here, one on each of the closer looking patches. I'm not actually sure if they're that much closer, but I think they are. At least these two are closer. This one's also closer. I'm not sure about the top patch, but some good mule micro over here out of ByuN. soO somehow, some way managing to get back up in that supply. Of course, a big factor in that is the fact that ByuN has just been adding a lot of infrastructure. 3 extra barracks. We see a command center being added in here as well. Actually, these marines kind of get semi-surrounded here. soO can't engage into this though. There is a tank back there, there's a planetary, there's not enough banelings to take out that planetary, and thus any attack into that position will be met with too much resistance. And this time the resistance will not be futile. Double drop stays on this top side, trying to deny a 5th base, as we really see soO focusing on that bottom 5th, which is really the only viable 5th initially, I think, until you get some type of I think lurkers out. It will be kind of hard, or at least some map control back on that top side as well. You'll need a lot of creep spread, you're going to need a lot of units as well. Yeah, creep just isn't spreading here. It's very, very silly. Mines are burrowing further and further forward. 2-2 is about to finish up as well. I think 2-2 is already done here for soO, as these mines do not quite get the hits that they need. That's not a great hit either. Actually, more friendly fire than anything. That last hit was big though. A lot of links will end up falling. You have a Link Bane run by at the top side. There's a couple of tanks in position though, so I don't think ByuN will be in too much trouble. We see some big mine production though, rather than continuing with these tanks. So it feels like ByuN wants to end this game rather sooner than later. Good control out of soO there. Only losing 1 or 2 banelings to each mine. Exactly what you want. Oh, these mines are not even going to finish their shot. They started their little shooting animation, or their little shooting procedure. Did not quite manage to finish it up. Sensor tower very far forward. Is there a mine behind that? Yeah, there is. It's difficult to see though. Even with the observer thing. Yeah, it's a surprise mine right there. I mean, I can't even see it. No shot that soO can see it. Extra orbital commands are being constructed right now, as we're already moving towards the topside 5th base. soO managed to actually get this 6th base up, and that would be a big deal. 86 workers for soO as well, who's getting his seismic spines. +2 carapace, +1 range. That means that we're going to kind of have a hold on those melee upgrades. We'll just stall for a little bit. More creep is being spread here, as ByuN once again is going to get pushed back without any major mine hits. Frustrating fight here for the Terran player, who I think wanted to finish this game a little bit faster. And now is going to be forced into building a Ghost Academy. And with that Ghost Academy and soO, who's already slowing down the game a fair amount, soO might actually give himself a second life in this game. Might actually give himself a second life. That would be very big. We have the first 4 ghosts on the way right now. Cloak immediately researching. 3 3-stars as well. We have pure Hydra Bane so far. I'm lying. We have a couple of Vipers with it as well. But not a single lurker out yet. Vipers will be fantastic against this type of situation, right? Where you only have these ground units. You send over some Vipers for the parasitic bombs, and all of a sudden these medevacs need to piss off right away. Hydras will take out 1 full medevac. ByuN also losing a fight here in the middle of the map. And with a lot of these mines actually going down, I think soO might want to start preparing for some type of attack on one of these outside bases. Whether that's going to be the top side base or the bottom side base, I don't really care. But we see a big migration of units towards the top side of the map. And a lot of banelings being morphed in at the same time. I think this planetary could be in a little bit of trouble. There's no siege units here. There is no mines either. And as the ghosts are also out of position, I think this planetary is going to get blown up, and there's nothing right now that ByuN can be doing about that. Indeed, the planetary will get blown up, and ghosts are trying to move into position, want to snipe these Hydralisks. ByuN taking some poor trades here. 12 workers going down. Needs to perhaps rebuild that. It's going to float an orbital towards that top side. This is a move I actually really like. Orbital on the base, planetary a little further forward, so you can kind of still micro back to a planetary. But the moment you take out a planetary, this base can continue still continue mining. We also have a kind of defensive planetary here in this general area. We have extra command centers on the way on top of that. And now some tanks are moving towards the stop side. And I do believe that we need to increase the tank count. It's going to be absolutely vital. We're working off triple factories at this point as well. So it's definitely going to be possible. Only +1 vehicle weapons though. Would not mind seeing those upgrades continue as well. As, of course, helps for these tanks. I mean, tanks with +3 just deal a crap ton of damage. Once again, soO is going to start marching forward. And yeah, with these Hydras, it's always dangerous to pull this type of move. Because the moment you start running away and the ghosts aren't pushed back far enough, all the snipes will take out a Hydra. One snipe per Hydra, and just like that, you can lose like 6-7 Hydras. It's an expensive little excursion if that happens every single time. Bottom side base is being taken here for soO. And the question right now is, how is ByuN going to respond to that? For now, he isn't. And it's just mainly keen on keeping this top side base alive. I don't think this is a fight that soO can take. I know this is a... Oh my god, never mind. There's a lot of banelings in the bottom side as well. I missed that. I think ByuN also missed that. Tanks were not quite enough here. We see the lift on the orbital command as well. Is there tanks ranging back any further? No, we have one tank on the high ground. soO absolutely blasting this position. I did not see this coming. I was too focused on that top side, and I think ByuN was as well. 40 workers get taken out here within what, like half a minute? This is a crazy comeback here out of soO, who was practically dead in the early game and now is staying alive. The bottom side gets taken out though by ByuN, and that is a big deal because the moment this bottom side base starts mining, ByuN is going to be in some major trouble because he is trading better than his opponent, but not by that much, especially after that last fight. I think that one orbital even got taken out. It did not fly back. We're lacking fresh command centers. There's still 6 orbital commands alive. One of them can fly over here. With the current supply, I'm not so sure if this is something you want to be even trying. The ghost count is 9. We have 7 tanks, but this is a large area to cover. We see 3 tanks on the bottom side, 3 tanks in the middle. We're going to need at least 3-4 tanks as well on the top side. Add in a couple of liberators. Yep. I saw those already being popped out, and I do like seeing these a lot. I think it's a very, very good call. And as long as ByuN stays alive on this map and just continuously denies this bottom side base, he will be fine, because Terran automatically trades better than Zerg. That means that as long as Terran mines their own 6 bases, they will most likely be fine. Now, of course, taking out this base and mining from it are 2 different things. But yeah, this is the position I was discussing earlier. It's just such a powerful position. It feels almost impossible for the Zerg to deal with. You almost need Broodlords in order to stop this type of tank sieged up position. And we do indeed see a Spire coming out. And I think that what soO wants to be doing here is continuously kind of blast this topside base. But once ByuN eventually kind of sets up that base, which really is, it feels inevitable. Oh, I say that, but a lot of tanks are gonna get taken out here. Liberator should also fall. Good engagement initially here out of soO once again. Man, how does he take these fights so darn well? It's crazy to me. The army supply was very ByuN favored, and yet soO is just taking better trades time after time again. Not necessarily efficient trades, although for a Zerg this is really, really close. Like I sometimes see like basically a 1-to-2 ratio for, you know, the Zerg just losing twice as much as the Terran. That is not quite the case here. This was an important scam, by the way, out of ByuN. Saw that the Spire wasn't a greater Spire yet, and that gives him a little bit of peace of mind, knowing that he can continue with these tanks rather than having to mix in Thors already. Base will stay alive for now. This single Marauder is trying to take it out, and, well, the Marauder actually got killed. May you rest in peace. This command center also is going to fall. No, it's not. I thought if these Hydras move a little bit towards the top side, maybe. Then you have these Ghosts, of course, with their nasty snipes. Might make life very difficult. 14 tanks are out right now. That means we're going to have plenty of defenses here on the top side. Needs to be careful to not get all of them blinding clouded in the same green cloud. Just taking out the creep here is huge as well. It's absolutely massive. Really will help in this type of defense. This base needs to be very, very careful. Couple of snipes. No, we're not going to be seeing any snipes. Baneling's moving forward while the Hydras try to take out this base at the same time. Couple of SCVs once again going down. Bottom side here is actually still mining as well. ByuN's going to try and snipe that, and he needs to do that ASAP. I love these spines here as well, just barely out of range of the tank. I wouldn't mind seeing a lurker being positioned here as well. That would be huge. If you have a lurker there, then this type of shenanigans will happen a lot less, in my opinion. I think this time around this base surely is going to fall, right? Hydras don't want to move forward. Yeah. It might just burn down. The SCVs start moving towards the command center. 55 HP remaining. Banelings moving in right now. Tanks get taken out. Good target fire on the Banelings. Blinding Cloud is big as well, though. This was a relatively bad fight, I think, here for soO. And when I say a bad fight, I mean efficiency-wise. It was a bad fight. But for an objective, it isn't perhaps too bad. If he can remax quickly, which he can because he has plenty of larva, and he can go again before ByuN gets the remax off, and you take out this topside base, there really isn't that much mining anymore going on for ByuN. We have like, what, 1,500 minerals, a little bit less, or like 1,200 minerals on this base, and this one is about a little bit less than 2k. So we're really only working with 3k minerals. That's about a minute of mining. This topside base is so important. All of these mules, they're going to be providing the boost. And right now, soO needs to go in. He needs to stop these mules from mining if that last fight needs to have any type of impact on the game. And yeah, this is very, very big. This is absolutely huge here. The mules are going to get taken out. The base most likely is going to fall as well. It will burn down. And this was the move that soO needed in order to kind of... what do you call it? To get an advantage out of that last fight, this fight needed to go very well. Because that last fight wasn't efficient, but it set soO up for this fight, saying, hey, I will be able to immediately build up a massive army, and if I can take out your reign of mules, and if I can take out that base completely there, then that was worth it, because I'm just outmining you by so much. And this is the plan that soO most likely is going to continue employing. We see ByuN getting kind of creative here. I really think a single lurker would add so much into this bottom side. It really would. No cancel on this hatchery is a mistake. Just a single lurker against this single or the double drops that we're seeing here. The tanks on the high ground can deal with the lurkers. It would make a world of difference. I will absolutely ensure you that. You right now see soO moving towards the bottom side. As there was a link burrow over here. Thors are already being constructed as well. I'm surprised to see that. I guess he saw the Greater Spire being morphed. Might have even spotted a couple of Corruptors out there somewhere. Yeah, this has been honestly kind of a disaster. How is this not in range? Oh, it is in range. There just was no vision out of ByuN, I guess. Couple of Vipers moving in right now. Should be capable of taking out these tanks at least. Whoop. That's one tank. And that is another tank. And soO once again will try and take it. While teching into Broodlords, by the way. So this is the type of composition that's really heading in towards a later game. Once the Broodlords are out and the Spore Walls start being constructed, that usually indicates kind of the temptation to start moving into that later game stage with these trying to hold positions rather than killing bases or denying fifth bases, which CVT just really revolves around in the first 15 to 20 minutes. As we're hitting the 23-minute mark and bases on soO's side are starting to kind of run out as well. I understand this switch up. He wants to get better engagements. I don't think this is that much of a better engagement though. I think this is a really poor engagement. He's just running a lot of units into siege units. That is not entirely what you want. All of the Banelings are going to get taken out here. Thors still stay alive. There's a crap ton of Ghost out as well. A lot of these EMPs are going to be hitting. Snipes going down. Broodlords will start falling. This was a good fight for ByuN. It's not necessarily represented right now in the supply, but all of these high value assets that ByuN has had are still alive. His army value is absolutely massive. And don't forget that usually in the tail end of fights is where the ghosts really start shining, because then they can start sniping units. This Link Flood is actually helping out a lot here. It's making sure that these Broodlords at least stay alive. And actually taking out a lot of the siege units as well. soO getting a way better trade here in the end than I really thought he would. These Links, no, continue taking out these SCVs. That would have been huge. There's no more money right now for ByuN. This is the final mining base. If these 4 Links would have taken out 6, 7 more SCVs right there, especially the gas mining SCVs, that could have been pretty big. That actually could have been huge. We are going to be needing a lot more mules. There are 6 orbital commands available, but not that many mules or scans. And of course you also want to have some scans available to know where your opponent is going to be. That's why we don't just see every single bit of energy invested into dropping mules. ByuN is being a little bit more careful there. 112 supply against 119. The income is still in favor of soO, but a couple of poor fights right now. And yeah, we see it kind of has gone down to 20k down in the resources lost tab. Still not the end of the world. And if soO manages to mine from this bottom side base and mine it out, 20k is actually fairly doable. However, we already saw, I think, a pickup of some of these medevacs. A pickup, yep, there we go. 8 of these marines moving towards the bottom side. I still believe that a single lurker would be way superior to any amount of Hydra Bane. Now, there's no tanks up here right now, so I do think the Hydra Bane is going to be sufficient, but a lurker would do the job so well. It's difficult for me to understand, and I don't really understand it. Maybe 2 lurkers, one over here, one over here. Make sure the hatchery can't get taken out, make sure the mineral line can't get taken out. You need to build some spores if you want. This just seems like a difficult way to solve an issue that can be fixed in a way easier way. That's an issue. That's a problem. That really is a problem for me. Scans forward. What did he see? Well, a bunch of creep tumors. So not a whole lot. Ling Hydra Bane is moving towards its own base. I'm not quite sure what they were doing. Tank sieging up forward right now. ByuN's army supply is fantastic. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen ByuN play this exact game a crap ton of times. Like these 25 to 35 minute games on Curious Minds and just playing for the complete mine out. Eventually setting up that very low SCV count, massive Terran army that is so difficult to deal with. We have a single Liberator heading towards the bottom side right now. ByuN is just delaying this bottom base from mining, more so than really wanting to kill it. He's saying, hey, if I can delay the mining there enough, eventually the top side is going to be mined out. And then I can focus all of my attention over here on this base. I'm not entirely sure what the purpose is of clearing creep on this side of the map and even moving forward. It seems like an unnecessary risk to me. This is not really an objective anymore. I mean, this base is practically mined out. There's still a crap ton of gas available. It's not really the gas that soO is lacking right now. It is the minerals. These Hydras will take out that medevac in the end. More tanks are on the way. That was a brilliant scan, by the way. Just randomly scans, sees 9 lurkers moving in, or morphing in. There's still quite some Thors here, which are practically useless against lurkers. Oh, he cancels the lurkers. Oh. Okay. I don't think it matters too much whether you have pure lurker or lurker Hydra Ling Bane. As long as the Terran is continuously building tanks and ghosts, you're most likely not going to break a Terran. Like, it seems a little bit silly to me. The bottom side mining is actually an issue for ByuN. What's the... We have what, 500, 600, 600, 600. This one's empty. Well, if I could do math, I could tell you guys exactly how many minerals we have left. But I think it's somewhere like 3k remaining, no? 600, 600, 600. Oh, there's only 3 600s and 1 900. Okay, so slightly less than 3. It's like 2.5, maybe? 2.5, 2.6 maybe. That's really all he has. It's a lot of Marines. It's 50 Marines, but it's less Ghost. That's really the army that we're going for, Ghost and tanks. However, it feels like ByuN hasn't really been losing that much in the past few minutes. It's starting to focus a lot of the attention on the bottom side, knowing that this top side is being mined out right now. I think the main resources actually that we're looking for is not minerals for ByuN, but gas. It's kind of the opposite of soO. soO is looking for minerals, and ByuN mainly wants gas. The gas is actually really low, and the gas income is extremely low. We're only mining off of 2 refineries currently. This top side is vulnerable. This top side is so vulnerable right now. I still think it would be huge if this gets denied, because that means that this is the army that you're dealing with, period. Nothing new is going to get added in. I still believe a lurker, my friends, just a lurker over here would be huge. Crap ton of banelings in this army as well. 75. It's difficult to deal with. It really is going to depend on these infestors. I wouldn't mind if an infestor tries to sneak by from the right side here. There's no turrets on the high ground yet. Felt like soO wanted to pull the trigger there because he's definitely bleeding out at this point. It's almost not worth it even to mine this. He really needs to get some setup going. He needs something here. I just think pulling in 2 ghosts is not enough. He's going to go in right now. No. We'll stay back a little longer. And he needs to pull the trigger at some point. Here we go. Big fungal is going to hit. Another fungal lands, actually. ByuN is losing a lot of ghosts right now. Thor still remain alive. Banelings do not trade well against these mech units. And there's just not enough units that can just fight for themselves. Not enough Hydras, not enough Lings. Just Banelings. And that means you're always going to be trading inefficiently. If this base gets taken out before these 28 next Lings arrive, I think this is absolutely going to be trouble here for soO. This top base still mining is actually hurting my head right now. This should not be possible anymore. Not at this point. And it just allows ByuN to produce these extra units that are so huge right now. Big EMP is hitting. There's still a single fungal remaining. And that fungal is going to decide this game. If the fungal hits, I think there's a chance. If the fungal doesn't hit, there is no chance. 2 ghosts are going to go down as a result of the fungal. But I don't think that was big enough. 8 more Lings are on the way. Yeah, this is just not it. This is just not it. Bottom side base gets taken out. soO's mining gets destroyed. And this is just it. There's nothing left right now. No more income. GG. And soO taps out. And ByuN, after an absolute banger, a 31-minute game. It felt like he was dead, but like so often on this map, he'll come back from the grave and haunt soO around. And it's exactly what happened here. Very, very frustrating. soO just not having the big units in that final engagement. Just too many Banelings. Felt like not enough Hydras or Lings there to really take care of these mech units, these Thors and these tanks. And that's fine with the Ghost, but it wasn't enough. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.